I was lounging on my porch, sipping iced tea and watching the sun sink behind the pines, when Linda roared up in her golf cart like a race car driver hooked on cheap Chardonnay. "You and that Porch are dragging down property values," she snapped. I stood, flashed a grin and said, "Guess I'll have to call the crew then." She assumed I meant relatives. I meant the biker gang I tune engines for. Now you might be wondering, hold up, how does that even work? Legally? And how does she not catch on? Stick with me, because if there's one thing I've figured out since landing in this HOA-controlled suburban maze, it's that folks here see only what they want and ignore everything they don't get, like me, leather jackets, or the idea of live and let live. I didn't grow up here. I inherited my aunt's place after she passed, sweet woman, loved her little gnome collection and whipped up a mean key lime pie. She'd lived here 30 years without a peep from the HOA. Me? 2 weeks in, and the first letter hit. Your porch seating violates community aesthetic guidelines. I had 2 rickety wicker chairs, a worn-out cushion, and a coffee table that'd serve vet a breakup and a storm. Apparently, that offended the Linda taste police. I brushed it off at first. It's just a porch, not a rave or a neon paint job, but the letters kept coming. Then came the sneaky notes in my mailbox, no postage. Then the icy glares when I walked my dog. It felt like a bad reality show, except the drama smelled like lavender and rose. I met Linda face-to-face at my first HOA meeting. You know the type, sharp bob, indoor sunglasses, radiating smugness you could slather on a bagel. She gave me a toothy welcome that screamed trouble, and said she hoped I'd uphold the standards that made Pine Grove Estates desirable. I said I planned to breathe and sit sometimes. That was too much for her. After that, it was war. She started posting pics of my porch on the neighborhood Facebook Pagino name, but captions like, "Is this what we want?" And "Who brought the truck stop VYB?" made it obvious. One post zoomed in on my tea mug with, "Is that booze?" Someone commented, "Trashy BHVY," or "Linda liked it." I didn't bite. React too soon, and you're playing her game. I waited. And I planned. Let me clear something up, I'm not some wild outlaw. I pay taxes, don't scratch cars, and pick up after my dog. But I spent 15 years in a bike shop, and if those guys taught me anything, it's that payback rolls best on 2 wheels with a side of barbecue and loud pipes. I'd fixed rides for all sorts: weekend riders, old vets, even a preacher with a Harley. Not crooks, just loud, loyal folks who'd return a favor. So when I called and said, "Got a suburban mess brewing," they were in. But I'm jumping ahead. The real showdown started 3 days before the porch clash. Linda strutted up in daylight, clipboard in hand, flanked by her minions, Janet and Marie, think secret HOA enforcers. No knock, just marched up like she owned the place. "We've had complaints your porch is a social space," she said. I blinked. "Isn't that the point of porches?" She smirked. "Not here. We project class, not tailgate VY Bess." Tailgate VY Bess? I didn't even have a cooler out. She handed me a notice, some HOA rule about approved seating and no VY Cybele drink containers. My tea was under attack. What if I don't follow? I asked. Her eyes gleamed. Fines. Legal action if needed. Janet and Marie bobbed their heads like puppets. I smiled because right then I knew she thought she'd won, and I knew this was about to get fun. I took the paper, folded it, and said, "Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't fit here." Her lips twisted into that half smirk, half frown she loved. She didn't know I'd already texted Tony and Spike, or that the weekend promised engines and ribs. As she rolled off in her cart, she muttered, "Some people ruin everything." I waved. She thought she had the upper hand. She didn't know half the neighbors saw her as a petty tyrant. Her newsletter was a running gag in a group chat I joined, and her perfect little world was about to flip. But then something stopped me cold. That night, an envelope was taped to my doorknob stamp, just a typed note. You don't know who you're dealing with. Linda wasn't just irritating. She was playing dirty. And I wasn't her first target. I didn't know how far this went, but I was about to find out. The fine started Monday. Digital, of course, too smug for paper. An email from HOA Officer Greg. I pictured him with no chin and a Bluetooth earpiece. Listed my crimes: unapproved porch use, non-compliant drink containers, and now overly bright chair paint. They were pastel-approved shades, just too lively for Greg's beige soul. He attached a PDF of suggested tones that looked like a hardware store threw up. I didn't reply or pay. Instead, I bought a rooster-shaped throw pillow with sunglasses and plopped it on a chair. Not furniture, so no rules broken. Linda saw it cruised by 3 times that day, squinting like she could vaporize me with disdain. She didn't speak. She was plotting. So was I. Later, my neighbor Sarah, always in snarky hoodies, worn out from too many HOA battles, brought me lemonade. Don't let her win, she said. She ran the Petersons out last year over a lawn flamingo. Fines threat they sold in 6 weeks. I asked if anyone fought back. She shrugged. Most cave or leave. But you? You're different. That stuck. Different. I just wanted to sip tea and mourn in peace, but now it was personal. Linda didn't just hate my chairs, she hated anyone who didn't kneel to her. If she wanted a fight, I had plenty of grit left. More notices rolled in. Excessive outdoor talking, a phone call outside, VY Cybele drink container, and unauthorized social interactions. I laughed at that last one like I was hosting a speakeasy. I pictured Linda with binoculars and wine, waiting to pounce if I waved at someone. She wasn't just obsessed, she craved control. So I pushed back. I took calls on the porch, loud enough to hear but not to sight. I got wild muxaskull with roses, a flamingo, even a toilet-shaped one. I added a Porch Pirates welcome doormat. No rules broken, just dancing on the line. Linda lost it. She stopped driving by and started walking, circling my house like a vulture with a clipboard. Neighbors noticed. Some grinned. A guy down the street said, "You're braver than me." Linda's relentless. I smiled. She hasn't met my backup yet. Backup was coming. I called Tony, Spike, and Lisa, biker pals who owed me favors. Not troublemakers, but they had presence. Loud bikes, louder laughs, and a way of rattling suburban nerves. I set it for Saturday. No laws broken, just a friendly VY sit. But Friday, a flyer was taped to my door. HOA emergency meeting decorum vote. Agenda: ban porch use unless pre-approved. Linda had gone full dictator. I went to the meeting with my rooster pillow and a chicken mug. The room hushed. Linda looked smug. The vote passed fast, fear does that. She grinned. Motion carries. I nodded. Time to call the crew. She looked wary, but it was done. Text sent, plans locked. Saturday at 10:47, Harley engines growled down the street, 15 bikes, chrome gleaming, leather shining. Linda froze in her driveway, Starbucks cup in hand as they rolled up. Tony dismounted first. Need a hand, he boomed. I smiled. Funny, I was thinking the same. Spike hauled out a grill, Lisa set up a table. We stayed off the porch, kept beers unopened, music low. Legal as could be. Cops came in 20 minutes, Linda's doing. Officer Daniels, who'd once handled her suspicious Amazon van call, laughed. All good here. Tony handed him water. Even sorted the recycling. Daniels nodded. Enjoy. Linda fumed, powerless. Neighbors crept out. Sarah grinned. Best day here in a decade. I gave her a burger. Ribs next. Soon a dozen folks mingled, laughing, asking about bikes. Old man Jenkins got a ride with Spike and came back beaming. Kids loved it. Parents warmed up. Someone brought cookies. Linda paced, called, texted. She stormed over. This is inappropriate. I asked which rule. She faltered. It's disruptive. Lisa quipped, so's your attitude, but we tolerate it. Laughter. Linda threatened another meeting. Tony said, we'll bring to VY-led eggs. She stomped off. By dusk, more neighbors showed than any HOA event ever. Real community, messy, loud, alive. Linda's spell was broken. But she didn't quit. Next day, another flyer, emergency meeting noise, guests, driveway rules. She listed dangerous indie VY duels with criminal ties, smearing my friends. That crossed a line. I called George, a lawyer who owed me for a free Harley rebuild. He asked, any HOA rules on power abuse? He'd check. That night, he texted, she screwed up big. Talk tomorrow. Linda had handed me a legal ace. The next meeting was at her house, security concerns, she claimed. No bikers this time, just George in a suit, calm and sharp. Linda challenged him. He said, I'm legal counsel for an HOA member. I stay. She had no comeback. The room buzzed, more people, less nodding for Linda. She ranted about external threats. George cited the charter, harassing board members could be removed. He showed my petty citations. Silence. I spoke about my aunt, my grief, how I fought with kindness, not lawsuits. Sarah added her Ben story, Jenkins his Dortail. More piled on. Linda's defense flopped. George called a vote, emergency rules allowed it. Hands shot up. Linda was out, red-faced, slamming cabinets as a mug shattered. Days later, new rules. No petty fines, no porch bans. People relaxed, talked, planned a real block party. Linda's house listed. She left quietly. I sat on my porch with tea and my rooster pillow watching the sunrise. Tony saluted from his bike, Sarah brought cookies, Greg nodded as he jogged by. Peace earned, peace returned. Then a letter came, no stamp. You may have won this time. I tossed it. Maybe I had. Or maybe I just reminded everyone porches are for levying, not ruling. And no HOA queen could change that.